Have you ever had one of those mornings, you did everything right, went to bed on time, got a full night's sleep, but you still wake up feeling completely exhausted? Yeah, you are not alone. So in this explainer, we're going to dig in and uncover some of the hidden reasons why you might still be so tired. I mean, it's such a frustrating feeling, right? You hit the snooze button over and over, feeling like you've barely slept a wink. You finally drag yourself out of bed, totally foggy and fatigued, and you're just left wondering, what is the point of sleeping for so long if I don't actually feel rested? If this sounds like you, well, you're in the right place. And look at this. This question from a teenager on Reddit just hits the nail on the head. They're getting the quantity of sleep, plenty of hours in bed, but the quality of that rest just isn't there. And that's the exact puzzle we're going to piece together today. So, let's put on our detective hats for a minute. We've got a victim, our energy, and we've got a crime scene, our bed. The big mystery we need to solve, unrefreshing sleep. Let's start by figuring out what exactly we're up against. So there's actually an official term for this feeling. It's called non-restorative sleep, or NRS for short. And the most important word here is subjective. See, it's not about what your clock or your sleep tracker says, it's all about how you feel when you wake up. You could have a log that shows a perfect 8 hours, but your body is telling you a completely different story. And the consequences of NRS, they go way beyond just feeling a bit tired. We're talking about that brain fog, what doctors call cognitive dysfunction. It can mess with your mood, make you more irritable, and it could even make you feel physical pain more intensely. It is a full-body problem that really starts in the bedroom. All right, first things first in our investigation. We're going to look at some of the usual suspects, the culprits that might be hiding in plain sight in our everyday lives. These are lifestyle sneaky little sleep saboteurs. First up, let's talk about the nightcap. Now, alcohol is a sedative, so sure, it can make you feel drowsy and it might even help you doze off a little faster. But here's the catch. As your body starts to process that alcohol overnight, the whole thing backfires. Your sleep gets lighter, it gets more broken up, and it really messes with your REM sleep, which is absolutely crucial for your brain to process memories and emotions. So that drink that you thought was helping you is actually robbing you of the most restorative rest.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. As Dr. Abhinav Singh, a sleep medicine physician, puts it very simply, alcohol and sleep are not friends. It's just a clear, simple truth. They really do not mix well.
Okay, now for our second suspect, the screen. And what's so cool here is we have some hard evidence. Check this out. In one study, researchers looked at how people slept after being exposed to different kinds of light. The group exposed to blue light from screens had a way lower amount of deep sleep. But get this, when they wore blue light blocking glasses, their deep sleep shot right back up to normal levels. It just goes to show you how that late night Instagram scroll is literally stopping you from getting the most refreshing sleep. Okay, so let's keep building this case. We've looked at what we drink and what we see before bed, but what about what we eat? Well, it turns out your diet can be a bit of an inside job, hijacking your sleep from within. Research shows different types of food can have really different effects on our sleep. For example, a diet that's high in carbs might actually help you fall asleep faster. A high-protein diet, on the other hand, seems to improve the overall quality of sleep with fewer wake-ups. But a diet that's high in fat, well, that might actually cut down your total sleep time. It's a pretty fascinating balancing act. But let's get into the details here, because it's not just what you eat, it's also when you eat it. So those high glycemic carbs, things like white rice or potatoes, they can actually help you sleep. But, and this is a big but, you have to eat them more than an hour before you hit the hay. If you eat them too close to bedtime, they can actually make your sleep quality worse. So timing, it turns out, really is everything. So, let's say you've tweaked your lifestyle, you've dialed in your diet, you've cut out the late night screen time, but you're still exhausted? Well, if that's the case, it might be time to look for some of the more serious hidden culprits that could be messing with your rest. First, let's look at a really common trap. It's this destructive pattern that just feeds on itself, night after night. And it's something a lot of us fall into without even realizing it. It starts out simply enough, right? You're tossing and turning, you can't fall asleep, so you think, I'll have a glass of wine to help me relax and drift off. But like we just learned, that alcohol totally fragments your sleep later in the night, so you wake up feeling just as tired as before, maybe even more so. So what do you do to combat that grogginess? You power through the day with coffee, or an energy drink, or some other kind of stimulant just to stay awake and focused. But all that caffeine is still in your system later that night, making it even harder to fall asleep naturally. And just like that, the cycle starts all over again. You're trapped in this loop of bad sleep and artificial energy.
Now for another huge hidden culprit, obstructive sleep apnea. This is a physical problem. Basically, the muscles in your throat relax too much while you're sleeping, and it causes your airway to get blocked. Your breathing literally stops and starts, over and over. Your brain has to jolt you awake just enough to get you breathing again, and this can happen dozens, even hundreds of times a night. And while you might not actually remember waking up all those times, the symptoms during the day are pretty hard to miss. We're talking about really loud snoring, maybe your partner tells you that you stop breathing, waking up gasping for air, having a dry mouth or a headache in the morning, and of course, being incredibly sleepy all day. If this list sounds at all familiar to you, it is absolutely crucial that you talk to a doctor.
Okay, so we've identified all the potential culprits. Let's move to our final section and see how we can finally crack this case. Let's talk about some powerful, real strategies you can use to take back control of your nights. Now, this first technique might sound a little strange, but one of the best ways to improve your sleep quality is to actually restrict your time in bed. I know, it sounds backwards, but this is a huge part of what's called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. The whole idea is to break that frustrating link between your bed and being awake. By only letting yourself be in bed for the hours you're actually sleeping, you build up this healthy sleep pressure that helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. You can follow the steps here to figure out your own sleep efficiency and adjust your schedule week by week to make your sleep more solid.
So, to wrap this whole investigation up, here's your case file summary. Stick to a consistent sleep schedule. Yes, even on the weekends. Ditch the alcohol for at least a few hours before bed, cut off the caffeine in the afternoon, and avoid those big heavy meals late at night. Create a relaxing, screen-free bedtime routine, and please remember, if you've done all this and you are still exhausted, that's your sign. It's time to talk to a doctor.
And that really leaves us with one last question to think about. After everything we've looked at today, from that glass of wine to your phone's blue light to hidden disorders, it's worth asking yourself, are your habits actually helping your sleep do its job, or are you, maybe without even realizing it, just getting in its way? The answer to that question could be the key to finally waking up feeling great.